It's their bellies full. Gandry kind of looks up, kind of looks around the campfire. And he starts to speak. My name is Gandry Whimsill. I'm from a nice little settlement in the Cloud Ridge Mistops, where my family and several other gnome families came together to mine the hills for ore and coal to fuel our Tinkers Guild. My parents are gnomes. I like to think of myself as one too, but I guess I can't do that anymore. My height, you see, really was always the root of my problems, and in the end even more so than the fire. I wasn't treated that differently, really. In a way, for the Tinkers of my clan, I was a new invention to be discovered. Fire was one of their main tools, and here I was, fire made flesh, with blazing hair, and able to pull fire right out of the air with my bare hand. My earliest memories were happy ones. Working in the guild hall, lighting burners, keeping the coal bins full, running inventions from table to table. For close to 5 years, I was earning my apprenticeship, making friends, and being happy. Just another gnome. My parents were so proud of me as I quickly jumped to the head of my class. And then, as nature will do, I started to grow. At first, it was no big deal. As a kid, I was as tall as the adults, so it was kind of expected. It seemed natural that I would become a little taller than everyone. But then I was a full head taller. And then I started hitting my head on door jambs. That second year of growing, I seemed to be forever bumping into one thing and dropping another. I tried to stay as small as I could. I kept to myself, but it only made matters worse. When my hair began scorching the ceiling, well, even I couldn't ignore the problem any longer. So I quit my apprenticeship, left the guild hall, and moved to working in the mines. There were rare occurrences where my height was a boon in the mines. But as fate or nature would have it, I grew even taller over the next few years. I got used to spending my days crawling or ducking through all the passageways. Most were so cramped that I couldn't even swing a pick, so I was relegated to carrying water and candles and pushing ore carts. At least it was something. They nicknamed me the Mule. I don't think they meant it in a kind way, but I didn't really care. I thought it was a gift, the day we found that open cavern, at least 15 feet tall and just as wide. I could stand, and there was a rich ore deposit that only I could reach easily. Finally, I'd have my chance. I'd have my purpose again. Myself and 5 other gnome miners were assigned to work that chamber. It was tight for all of us to be in there. But the workshop had a big project and the ore was needed quickly. For 2 weeks, we mined from dawn till sundown just as fast and as hard as we could. I was happy, and I was finally making friends. But I guess fate wasn't done with me. There was a cave-in and we were trapped. For 4 days we sat and waited, knowing, hoping, the other miners would be digging us out. My fellow miners, my new friends, thanked the gods I was with them for light and heat and some warmth. And that's when I knew I had found my true usefulness and purpose. I really did have a place in my village and my home and with my family. On the 5th day, we heard them coming, their picks ringing out on the rocks just feet away, so we stood up to make room for them to break through. I stood up. I just stood up. The explosion was deafening. My father later told me that gas must have collected in the top of the cavern, and my hair ignited it. The blast blew out the last of the blockage in the tunnel leading to us, and as the rescuers came in, what they found were the 5 miners, my friends, lying dead at my feet, burned to a crisp, and me standing in the middle of them, deafened and dumbstruck. I don't know how they got me out. Everything was a blur over the next few days as grief swept through the village. I had sustained my fair share of wounds and was being cared for in my home. My parents were out helping other families, and like a vulture, the deacon came. It was late morning, and I recognized where he was from immediately. One of the elders had warned me of the Temple of Purity and what had happened to other children of the lost. I was terrified of him. He spoke just a few words to me, and suddenly, I wasn't in control of myself anymore. He led me into town and made me tell the guild hall and all the gnome elders that I was going to leave with him. He told them how good it would be for the village and how this was for mine and their own safety. He made me tell my friends how I would miss them while I was screaming inside for them to please help me. He took me to my parents, and I knew they would see through this lie and stop the deacon. As my mother looked in my eyes, I was sure she would see my terror and know this wasn't what I wanted. But she kissed me on the cheek and told me she loved me for being so strong. My father told me he was proud of me for doing this, as in my mind I begged him to save me. I just kept saying over and over, "Dad, Dad, please, please save me." The deacon, he shot me an evil smile as he led my parents away and consoled them by telling them what good care he would take of me. The deacon then put me up on his wagon, sitting me next to him, and my body waved goodbye to everyone as we drove out of town. The tears pouring down my face were mistaken for sorrow from leaving instead of the terror screaming inside of me. That night, he put me in the box, filled it with water, and nailed the lid shut.
Hearing all of this and seeing where this conversation is going and knowing the next part of this story, Iska wants to speak up. Iska, not really knowing what else to do, honestly, in this situation, decides to do the one thing that she can do, the thing that she thought and hoped brought comfort to Gandry throughout the night before. Iska quickly, with her violin behind her somewhere, begins to sing, hopefully to provide some of that comfort that she could before. She begins to sing, and what she sings is not a song she's sung before. It's not a song that she even knows. It's a song she just puts together, a melody she hopes to latch onto. And as she sings, she has certain images in her mind. She thinks back to the fight at the waterfall and seeing Celia damaged, torn by one of the hounds. She thinks to the dust storm and seeing Luck take a massive blow to protect her. She thinks back to the pious paladin, even when she was cut down by a shadow. She remembers being almost torn into the maw of one of those awful hounds. She sees all those, but she remembers what follows from all of those situations. She remembers that Celia got back up and Celia finished that fight. That Luck, too, was raised in the middle of that storm. That Luck, speaking of Luck, he was the one who put Iska on his shoulders when she could no longer walk after the fight with the shadows. That Axel had been there to raise Iska again after the fight with the hounds, and after Kel was the one to sever that hound's tongue and protect her. She remembers all those things. But more than anything, she remembers Gandry and what he looked like when he came out of that box, and what he looks like now. Just a night before, he was barely able to talk. He couldn't talk. He wanted to give up, but he chose not to. In the same way that we all have chosen not to give up before. And she remembers Luna's words that if you do not have a family, we can be yours. And she hopes now that as she sings, the song can give Gandry that feeling once again, that with the right people in the right places, you can survive and you can live.
I'm hoping that Good Guy Pie comes back, so and I'll fix all the cameras then. But while this is just between me and Luna, me and Bird, I just fix the two so you can see us stream. So for the rest of you, the players in the stream, you hear Iska begin to sing, and it's the first time you've really heard her voice without her violin. Her first time she's really just singing solo. And at first it's just simple notes of beauty and calm. But as she continues, it's almost like it's not her voice anymore. It's an older, more resonant voice. And even though she's the only one singing, another voice joins in. And the song becomes like the music you first heard Iska play at Morgan's Creek. It has power like that music had. And as she sings, these notes are like a language, invoking the images of the frailty of the human form and how hopeless that can sing. The song continues. It seems to then reject that reality. And as it does, a strange vibration seems to fill the song and the air around you. An almost electric feeling of anticipation. And when that moment of anticipation breaks, all of you see the world around you change. The fire no longer crackles and burns randomly. It seems to coalesce into a perfect, symmetrical flame. Small pebbles and leaves around the campsite seem to almost vibrate and lift off the ground as though affected by some unseen force. there's this break in that anticipation, and Iska's face becomes almost perfectly calm, and a third voice joins in. And this voice is like nothing any of you have heard before. It's an ancient, eternal resonance that seems like it could cut through not only the planes of existence, but the fabric of reality itself. Where the second voice seemed to be carrying the strange magic on the sixth line of music above the normal staff in the music that Iska had played before. This voice seems to be singing from almost a seventh line that would exist below the staff. I'm just going to fix these really, really, really quick for just so that me and Iska are seen. Sorry, folks, for the little interruption, but I want you all to see all this. So just give me one quick second.
While we're waiting for the adjustment, we can do the pun of the week because we haven't done that.
You are not doing the pun of the week right now. I'll get people in the right place. So back. So this voice is like nothing you've heard before. It's this ancient, eternal resonance that seems like it can cut through not only the planes of existence, but through the fabric of reality itself. You know, it's this seventh line of music below the staff. The three voices of Iska's song now begin to focus on strength and resilience and this unbreakable will, a rejection of physical harm and death. The imagery and tones of the song then turn and focus as Iska's focus turned to Gandry as well in his story, his journey through the darkness and his flame and life being reborn. And as it does, now Iska's voice returns to join the other three. That familiar, pure voice you know, Iska's very human voice, but filled with power and conviction. An oath of care and protection over those around her. The other three voices seem to fade away, and the song ends as it began, with Iska singing simple notes of beauty and calm. So that's what everyone around the campfire was hearing. Iska, as you sing, you look into Gandry's face, and your vision seems to blur. At first you believe it's tears, but then you realize this is a vision. You see Gandry. He's healthy and whole. His legs are strong and straight, and while still lean, his frame is no longer emaciated. You see him pick up a piece of dried wood and take it to a splitting log. His hair blazes brightly as he swings an axe overhead and splits the dry wood into a hearth-sized piece. Your vision expands outward, and you see that he's at an outdoor fire pit. He's cooking. It's a large assortment of different meats and vegetables over bright burning coals as he feeds these freshly split woods into the fire. You see him inhale deeply, and his shoulders relax, and he smiles. And your vision comes back to you as your song ends.
As I come out of that vision, same like spark of energy comes to Iska, and she relays that vision to everyone. She turns to Gandry and says, "Gandry, I saw you. I had another vision. Your spark is back. Your flame, it's back. You're strong. You're splitting wood. You're cooking. I smelled something. I smelled this cooking, this. And she turns to Luck. And she says, "You're cooking. I smelled like the feast at Verdant Falls, like the food you make for Luck's cooking was strong and vibrant throughout."
You hear Gandry's voice pick back up, and he goes, "It was the first thing I experienced when you lifted me out of that box." And he looks to Luck. "As you cradled my head into your shoulder, my first breath was filled with this wonderful smell of your cooking. It's how I knew it wasn't a delusion or a dream or another nightmare, because nothing I could have imagined could smell so alive, so full of hope and care and love. I'll never forget it. It was the smell of my rebirth and my choice that I would indeed live." When he finishes, Iska passes out.
Iska!
You all rush over. She doesn't seem to be damaged anyway, but she seems to be experiencing something. Her eyes are rapidly moving underneath of her, under her eyelids. Iska, you find yourself floating in darkness. And down below you, you see this vast, color-filled landscape stretching as far as the eye can see for leagues, miles, maybe eons. As your consciousness descends down on it, you see it filled with all sorts of different colors and patterns. And there are places where it almost seems three-dimensional, and then other places where it seems as though there's not much to it at all. It's almost incomprehensible in its complexity. But as you continue traveling forward over it, you see in front of you what seems to be a void. A place that this seems to be flowing out from this circular area that is possibly the center of where this is all coming from, where once there was nothing, and then suddenly this giant tapestry is forming. And there around this hole, working furiously, you see 3 hunched figures working, creating possibly this tapestry. And you hear 3 voices arguing. "Sister, what have you done? It is mine and mine alone to cut the threads. The impetuous girl thinks herself a singer of the fates already." Another voice kicks in. "Yes, yes, you and your shears always cutting, but never taking measure. Look what this turn of the skein has done. Threads that were never meant to cross now align, and all these others. Well, you see what happens to the others and how their fates have changed." A third voice chimes in. "Yes, but see how the tapestry is affected? She was always destined to sing for us, but this, a fourth song of fate, And with this development, our other 3 songs are no longer shrouded from her or the other. It accelerates things. The complexity compounds long before we thought it would. One false step and it all... Ah, sisters, she listens. The second voice now returns. Iska, child. The creation of the song is a wondrous, wondrous thing. Only a chosen few are able to achieve such a feat, and then only when all the elements of the cosmos align for them. Such creation is neither subtle nor without consequence. The chorus of the Muses is but a collection of nursery rhymes compared to what you have created. For eons there were but 3 chords of the Fates, but now you have created a 4th. That creation has broken the shroud that has kept our 3 songs hidden for centuries, but now they are exposed. The deep music is now accessible to those who know how to listen for it and heed its call. Your time as a Fate singer has come much sooner than expected, but now you are our voice on the mortal plane, and as such it falls to you to retrieve the other 3 chords of the Fates. Have no doubt that from this moment on there will be others searching for them as well. You must find them first, and protect them at all costs, for the stakes are no less than the control of fate itself. She now, you look and are able to see under her cowl, and you see her face, and then it shifts to another face, and another face, one after, rapidly progressing. She is every face, every ethnicity, every different arrangement of features, every color, and she seems to look at you and take measure to see how you're handling what you were just told, and whether truly the Fates can trust you in this task. You are able to communicate briefly.
And these chords you speak of, these notes, I'll find them. I'll make them mine. I'll sing a song like none have sung before. I promise you.
I believe that you will. You will be able to find them as all things of ours are found, through a twist of fate. With that, she pushes you away, and you fall back into your body, and you will find within your handouts that you know a new spell. Where are you? You have learned a new spell on this realm and in this place